what's so good about pattern recognition is when you get down to the D point, you really have no choice but to take the trade, because you don't know which ones are going to win and which ones are not going to win, because it's all about probability theory and risk control. This is what a final pattern will look like. This is the dollar versus the Canadian. After you've done this for a few months or years, this is what you'll see when you watch it. You'll see the A, B, C, D patterns, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and you'll realize that that's all the market is ever doing. Tell yourself this: the market can only do three things. It can go up, it can go down, and it can go sideways. Your job as a pattern recognition expert is to determine whether you are going up, down, or sideways. We do that by looking at higher highs, lower lows, or congestion phases, and taking the numbers of the Fibonacci summation sequence and putting them, in context to where we are. And that should give us a pretty good idea of where we are within the market. This is how. This is an expansion of that ABCD pattern that Gartley put, only we put all the numbers in it. And this is how you determine whether for the previous day, what you're going to be looking at. Because if you have higher bottoms, you want to double check to see if it's coming in at a 618 or a 786 retracement. If you have higher tops, you want to see if it's expanding by 1.27 or 1.618. And that's how you try to predict what the high of the range is going to be for the next day, by using the expansion or contraction numbers of the previous several days to determine, what you should expect. The market does the same thing every day. It doesn't do it exactly the same thing, but it does the same thing every day. It either goes up, down, or sideways. There's nothing else it can do. And that's why within this chaos of the market are non-random patterns that we find, like ABCD and others, that actually will give us a clue to what we think is going to happen tomorrow. Remember, we're just trying to put the probabilities from 50% out to about 70%. That's all we're trying to do. And if we can control our risk doing that, we're going to have more profitable trades than we have losing trades, and we'll make more money on our winners than we will on our losers. And that's the whole principle of what we're trying to do. Now, this is how you find the ABCD trades. You just mark the highs and lows, and you'll see that this is just multiple ABCD trades all through this whole section here. There's A, B, C, D, and then once D is completed, it starts another A. There's A, B, C, D. That's all the market's doing, up, down, or sideways. Now, this market happens to be in a slight uptrend because we have some higher bottoms and we have some higher tops. So that's basically it. But we're also near a congestion system. 1 second, folks. I need to take a little drink of water. This is as hard as I work all week, but this is what I enjoy most because I've been able to train a whole lot of people to do this, and it's paid me big dividends and making them very happy. Folks, if you ever want to buy a McDonald's franchise, this is it. Don't cost you much, but this is the best pattern there is. It's called the Gartley 222 pattern. On page 222 of Gartley's book, he wrote about this pattern in 2 full pages. Nowhere in the book did he spend more than just a paragraph or 2 on patterns except here. He spent 2 full pages talking about the 222 pattern. And basically what it is, it's an AB equals CD pattern that allows you to try to buy a higher bottom or sell a lower top, so you don't have to try to pick a top or a bottom. It's giving you a place to try to enter a market after a top has been made or a bottom has been made, and you don't have to risk very much at all. It has a probability of success of better than 75%. The win-loss ratio on it is you'll make $2 for every dollar you lose. It takes a while to learn how to use the pattern itself, but there is no pattern any better. I've been teaching this pattern for over 30 years to many people, and a lot of other people are out teaching this too. Fortunately, they're doing it the way Gartley told them to do it, and it's really an amazing pattern. Gartley died in 1969. Unfortunately, I didn't find out about it in his book until 1971, and I talked about it so much it's finally been reprinted, and you can buy the book now instead of $1,500. You can buy it, I think, for about $100. Any information you want on that, if you can contact either Shelley Simon or Matthew, you'll be able to get it. I think you're going to get a 2-week trial to the newsletter and stuff to, try to stimulate your interest in some of this at the end of the time if you have the effort to actually go through it. This is what a Gartley pattern looks like. It happens to be a 5-minute dollar-yen. There's your A, B equals CD pattern coming in at a retracement. That makes that a bearish Gartley pattern. There's another bearish Gartley pattern. This is the pound versus the Kiwi. You have an A, B, C, D coming in at a 618. We'll just show you. There's another one here of the euro, A, B, C, D coming in at the 618. And they have a high degree of success. They don't work all the time, but they do give you a pretty good idea of what the pattern is. You don't have to worry about an oscillator. By the time the 15-day moving average turns up, you're going to be up in here buying it. And we want to be buying right here where our risk is as small as it possibly can be, because this is where pattern recognition beats the heck out of any oscillator system with an RSI or stochastic or percent R or any of those things, because those are lagging. These are leading indicators, and that's why pattern recognition, is so very, very powerful. Okay, the next one is the butterfly pattern, and that's basically an extension pattern where the Gartley has failed. In other words, instead of stopping at the 618 and 786, that extends to the 1.27 and 1.618. This happens to be my personal, I love the Gartley patterns because they pay the bills, but the ones they're exciting and fun to watch and pay you great dividends are the butterfly patterns, because they're making a new high at an expansion ratio of 0.618 or 1.27, and the market is incredibly oversold at that point, overbought at that point. So the risk here at this particular trade at point D is very, very small. However, when butterfly patterns fail, they can take off and go a far, far way. So that's why you only have to risk a small amount. There's one stock that looks exactly like this right now. Take a look at the stock of Baidu on a daily. It's exactly there at 87 is where it is. At 88, you're wrong. At 87, you're right. So it's right at the money. So whether that works or not, we'll see if it does. This is another bearish butterfly pattern in the Canadian and the Swiss, and is another bearish butterfly with the dollar and the yen. And the other thing is the yen right now is looking like it's ready to, the dollar is getting ready to dramatically make a turn here at 85 in the yen. So this is very important. The U.S. dollar index, all these things are coming together, and we're over these major astro points. So something big is going to happen in August. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be big. Okay, now the three drive to this is three drive to a bottom pattern is also three drive to a top pattern, and basically what you're looking for is symmetry. The three drive pattern was first discovered by Gartley again, and it was picked up in 1961 by a man named William Dunnigan out of Santa Barbara, California, who wrote two books called the Dunnigan One-Way Formula and the Dunnigan Thrust Method. Basically, it was an expansion of the three drive pattern. Linda Ratsky calls it the three little Indians. It's nothing more than three tops that are very symmetrical. Now, they should be very symmetrical in both price and time. In other words, the A, B, C, D leg should be a 1.27 or 1.618 expansion of another. In other words, it should be very easy to find a three drive pattern. In other words, you don't have to search for it. This is probably the most difficult pattern people have trouble with, because they try to force them. They try to make a three drive pattern out of something like this, and that cannot be a three drive pattern because it's got to be at a top. It's got to be at a new top on your 5-minute chart, your hourly, your daily, whatever it happens to be. But the pattern works very well. You don't have to risk very much, but it works quite well. This is the three drive pattern on the euro. And I use currencies a lot because they trade, fantastically better than stocks. and futures, even though the futures are pretty good, but nothing is better than the currencies. They trade nearly as symmetrical as you can possibly get. This is the same thing on the pound and the Canadian dollar on a tick chart, and that gives you a 3 drive to a